Good morning, everyone. I'm Quinn Wisson with Vertical Measures, and I'm here hosting VM's monthly webinar series. Today's webinar is titled 5 Facebook Marketing Strategies to Create More Engagement and Attract Lucrative Leads, and will be presented by our special guest, Amy Porterfield. Amy is the co-author of Facebook Marketing All-in-One for Dummies and is a social media strategist for entrepreneurs and small businesses. With 12-plus years marketing experience with mega brands, Amy currently creates online programs to teach entrepreneurs and small businesses how to leverage social media to gain greater exposure, attract quality leads, and turn their fans and followers into loyal customers who are eager to do business with them again and again. Vertical Measures is very excited to have Amy lead this presentation. Before we get started, I'll hand over the presentation to Amy in just a minute, but just allow me to take care of a little housekeeping information. Today's webinar will be available for replay by tomorrow afternoon, barring any technical difficulties, of course. We'll also be happy to answer your questions, so please make sure to ask them in the chat applet located on your screen or via Twitter using the hashtag VMWebinar. Any questions we don't get to, we will be sure to try and answer via email. If you are having any technical difficulties, please attempt to reconnect. Lastly, we wanted to let you know that in August, Vertical Measures will be throwing a special contest on our Facebook page. If you haven't liked us yet, go ahead and head over to our page and do so as soon as you can. If you participate, you will be eligible to win a free backlink analysis, which is $900 in value. It's a great tool for website cleanup and will be a wonderful step in furthering your internet marketing efforts. So with the housekeeping complete, I will hand it off to our special guest, Amy Porterfield.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here, and I have a lot to cover in a short amount of time, so let's go ahead and dive in. Once again, this is 5 Facebook marketing strategies to create more engagement and attract lucrative leads. Now, here's what you're going to learn. First, how to incorporate list building tactics into your Facebook ad strategy, the #1 way to grow a lucrative fan base quickly, tips to keep your fans coming back for more, little-known ways to turn a fan into an active lead, and how to use the new promoted post to reach even more potential customers and turn them into paying customers. So in simple terms, in this session, you'll discover new strategies to increase your authority, online exposure, and overall impact on your ideal audience. So let's dive in. The first tip I want to give you is when you're on Facebook, you want to make sure you ask for the action. You ask for the engagement. My motto is ask and you shall receive on Facebook. So I wanted to give you some real-life examples that I've used and my peers have used in order to ignite that engagement. Now here's the deal. On Facebook, engagement is the name of the game. And what I mean by that is that if you don't have engagement, then you don't get out into the news feed of all your fans. You've probably heard in the past that Facebook actually pays very close attention to people when they're clicking like, when they're commenting, when they're sharing your post. The more your fans share, like, comment on your post, the more often Facebook will decide to put you out into the news feed of all your fans. So that means that most people don't read all your posts by going to your page, but they see your posts in their news feed. So you've got to get out there in order to really leverage your experience on Facebook. The way you get out there is to increase your engagement. The way you do that is you include calls to action in almost all of your posts. So here's an example. I often post quotes that I know my audience will resonate with. My audience are small business owners and entrepreneurs, and I find these great quotes and I post them, but then I include an image that it has a call to action. You can steal this idea from me today and make it your own. So I created this easy image that says click like if you agree. Then I posted a quote and put it out into my news feed. Now, I actually promoted this post to even increase the engagement more, and I'll get into that in tip number 5. But what I wanted to show you here is that you can create even more engagement by asking for it. Tell people to click like, ask them to comment, ask them to share. When you do that, you will see that your stats start to skyrocket. You'll get even more engagement. And here's another one that I like. This is my friend Pat Flynn of Smart Passive Income. And he says, click like if you like this quote. It's one of my favorites. So it's just a different take on what I did before, where he also did a quote, but he just asked people to click like if they like the quote. Something extremely easy, but think of it this way. If you just post a quote or you just post a stat or an interesting tip and don't ask someone to do something with it, then they won't. And if they don't do anything with it, if they don't like, comment, or share, then it's like they've never even seen it because Facebook doesn't know that they engaged with it. You've got to get Facebook to pay attention. And the way you do that is you get your fans to take action. Now, this is one of my favorites. This is a student of mine. He's at the Abs Expert. And he posted this in order to get some feedback from his audience and also to get his engagement up. So let me go a little closer for you. It says, I'm putting together the ultimate fat loss cheat sheet. Let me know if you want a copy when I'm done. Just say yes and hit the like button. And so when he did this, he was able to get people to really pay attention, which is so valuable because if they click like and they comment yes, well, their score goes even higher. So I love this because it really allows people to start taking action with you. And when you get them in the behavior of taking action, you're able to really see some real engagement on your Facebook page. Now, the second tip for you is to go pro. Now, Facebook is the ultimate platform to brand yourself and your business. And when I say go pro, basically what I mean by that is you really want to make sure that you look the part on Facebook, that you look like you've put some real time and effort into building your Facebook platform. Now, when you're able to brand your page, then you're able to really look the part. So let me show you what I mean. So the branded timeline cover photo. This is fairly new. Over the last few months, Facebook has moved all pages to the timeline cover photo and timeline layout. So this is Coca-Cola. They do a great job with theirs. But let me give you some specifics, and then let me give you a bunch of examples that you can use to brand your own timeline cover photo. So a few things. First, you want to take advantage of the timeline for pages layout. That cover photo is 851 by 315 pixels. If you use those exact specs to create that timeline cover photo, it will look crisp and really pop out to your ideal audience. Also, you've got to know the restrictions and guidelines for this timeline cover photo. There are a lot of restrictions, so I'm going to give those to you in just a moment. Use this image to graphically represent your brand. You can't just use you can't just use copy. You've got to incorporate images as well. So I'll give you a bunch of examples. And I encourage you to consider changing it out often. Every time I do a brand new webinar, I always make a new timeline cover photo for that webinar. So I change mine out pretty often depending on what I'm promoting and what I'm doing in my own business. So you might want to take advantage of that as well. So some restrictions for your timeline cover photo. First, you don't want to include any contact information such as web address, email, or mailing address in your timeline cover photo. Facebook prohibits you to add any of this information. Also, you can't make any reference to the user interface elements. So you can't say like our page below or share our page with your friends. You can't use those words like, share, or any interface elements in your timeline cover photo. Now here's the biggie. No calls to action. So you can't say sign up below or click below or get it now or tell your friends. You cannot include any call to actions. When I saw this, I was so frustrated with Facebook because I thought, you know, we're trying to run a business here. We're trying to attract quality fans to our Facebook page. So without those call to actions, it makes it a little tough. Also, your timeline cover photo is not meant for promotions, coupons, or ads and should not be primarily text-based. So these are the main timeline cover photo guidelines. And you might think, well, what the heck can I do on my timeline cover photo? Well, first, before I get there, let me show you what you can't do. So this is an example of Zest soap breaking the rules. Now, I don't know, maybe they have a special deal with Facebook because they spend a lot of money on Facebook ads. I have no idea. But you cannot do this. So see where it says Race to Earn Zest Clean Points and Win Big. Click on the tabs below with a big arrow. You cannot do this, so I would not copy what Zest is doing here. You don't want to include any type of arrows or call to actions or anything like that. So just keep in mind that keep the call to actions out and you won't get your page taken down or your photo taken down. Now here's what you can do. One strategy, if you are your own personal brand, if you're an entrepreneur, you have your own business, and your name is your business, then this is a great example of personal branding. This is my good friend Heather Pierce, and her tagline is helping your body keep up with your business. Now she created a product called Go Feed Yourself. And notice she says down below, it says creator of Go Feed Yourself. So she subtly tells people about her program, but she keeps it focused on her image and her tagline. This is a great example of a personal branding timeline cover photo. And here's another one, Scott Colby, and what he does great is he's a personal trainer. So he shows a lot of great images of the lifestyle that he's creating for himself and his clients. And then he's got a great quote, do it now, sometimes later becomes never. So great example of a lifestyle inside the timeline cover photo. Now, you want to have fun on Facebook. It's not all about business. And so I loved this example from the women at Like Chocolate for Women. And they did a big brainstorming session. So they took a picture and took people behind the scenes of their business. They let people know what they were doing in their business and how they were going off-site to think of new ideas for their business so that it could actually impact the people they serve. So I love spotlighting company culture in your timeline cover photo. And remember, you can change these out often and have some fun with it. So just because you put up one photo doesn't mean you're stuck with it. Also, if you have a product or a program that has a unique feature involved, then you want to spotlight that through an image. Better Voicemail is a company that helps realtors get notifications for different opportunities. And so as you can see on the smartphone, they've showed their feature in the image. I love this example. So think of your products. Do you have a unique feature that you might want to showcase? And then another strategy is showcasing your products. So here, Good Pop is a great example of just showcasing all the flavors that they have available. So if you have a product, definitely use images in your timeline cover photo. Now, if you're in real estate, you want to make sure that you tell people who you are and what you're about and show a great image of the location that you serve. So here it says real estate in Santa Cruz County, find homes to buy, get buyer, seller, and community information, understand the foreclosure process, review market statistics. So right away they tell you who they are and what they're about, and then they use imagery to really draw you in. If you have a team, another great example of using your timeline cover photo is spotlight or introduce your team. I think this is a great way to go behind the scenes. Remember, with social media marketing in general, you've heard the word transparent for years now. You want people to know who you are and what you're about. This is a great way to do it. And then my good friend Mari Smith, she does a great job of spotlighting her fans. So once in a while, she'll create a new montage of a bunch of her fans and then post it as her timeline cover photo. I love this example. I think it does really great things to get your fans involved and get them excited to be a part of your community. And then lastly, if you're promoting an online or offline event, you can still do that. Now, I know Facebook says they don't want you to use your timeline cover photo to promote, but I think that there's a little gray area there that you can still get away with it, but just don't break the rules. So as you can see here, with Agents of Change, they have great visual representation of their brand. They give the location and date of the event, but they do not say go sign up or go here to pay and enroll or anything like that. They just tell you we've got an event, here's what it's about. Now, although I can't get into all the details now, here on the timeline layout, you can now have those boxes underneath that show custom applications. So on the custom applications, then you can create a page where people can enroll in your event. So you can still have that on your page. You just can't direct people to it from your timeline cover photo. No calls to action. But this is a great example of promoting an event. Now, tip number 3 is find out what's already working. I love this tip, and it's a little bit more analytical, but it's so important and really easy to use. So I don't want you to guess which post your fans will respond to. Instead, I want you to measure which ones are already popular and already working for you. Page posts. Next to each post are several columns, including the number of engaged users, which measures how many of them clicked on a particular post. So to show you what I mean, I have a graphic here. So if you go into your insights on your Facebook page and you scroll down, you'll see all of your posts from the last, I don't know, maybe 30 days. And in there, you'll see the column engaged users. So if you look at my example here, if you look at the numbers, you notice that on 5/30 this year, I posted something that says, if you want to do everything, and then ... you can't really read it. Well, that's a quote that I posted. It's a quote with that image I showed you that says, click like if you agree. Remember that I showed you just a moment ago? Well, that got the most engagement over a 30-day period. That post got the most engagement. So when I look at my stats and I think, okay, what's really working for me, right away I can tell. So obviously the one that says, this is very cool, you dig, I forget even what that was. But obviously that one didn't work so well for me. But the one at the very top, it says now you can schedule your posts. So with that, I was giving a tip about Facebook marketing. Now, to make it easy for you, when you go into your own dashboard, if you click on the link of the post, it will actually show you the post so you can remember what it is. But my point here is that you can really understand what's working and what's not working for you when you look at it this way. So I want you to do more of what's working and less of what's not working. When I work with Tony Robbins, one of the biggest lessons he taught me was that there's no need in business to reinvent the wheel. Find out who's doing it right and model the best. Well, I use that when I look at my stats as well. Find out what's working and model that strategy and do it over and over again until it doesn't work for you. So go into your insights, look at your engaged users column, and find out the posts that are getting the most clicks, shares, and comments, and do more of what's already working for you. Tip number 4 is use more images. So images, as you likely already know, are a huge hit on Facebook. They're actually the #1 media that most people engage with. Video is number 2, but images are number 1. They share images more, they comment about images more than anything else on Facebook. So as you probably have also seen, images with quotes really get a lot of traction. So when you actually find a quote that you know will resonate well with your audience, I want you to use it and put it into an image or find an image that already exists and share it on Facebook. Now you might be thinking, okay, Amy, why am I putting out a bunch of quotes or images or anything like that? How does that really relate to my brand? Well, the thing you want to remember with Facebook is that most people are not on Facebook to do business with you. Most people are on Facebook to have some fun, to enjoy themselves, look at vacation photos of their friends, connect with old acquaintances. So they want to be entertained. So you've got to find a way to incorporate your business and your niche and your content with a little bit of fun or playfulness, or make it more entertaining or enjoyable for the people that visit your Facebook page. So I try to incorporate a little bit of fun, some really great content on a daily basis. So let me show you some examples. First, with visual marketing on Facebook, one thing to remember is that approximately 80% of all of our learning occurs visually. We only remember 10% of what we hear, 20% of what we read, and about 80% of what we see. Images will help spark viral exposure with the audience that really matters to your business. So when you're thinking of images, one thing, if you want to relate it back to your business, is create images when you do contests, giveaways, and promos. So if you're doing a giveaway, or I love this last one, they were doing a contest, the worst bathroom design challenge. So create images and then put them out into the news feed. Have you ever noticed that when someone just says a text-only status update, that it takes up a tiny little area when it goes out into the news feed? But when you include an image, you take up more real estate? always, always, always think about how you can include images or video with each of your posts. And so I wanted to show you these examples because basically you're just getting your text status update, you're making it bigger and more graphically appealing. That's what you're doing. So add text into an image in order to really make sure that you are grabbing the attention of your ideal audience. Now, when I do webinars, I create images as well. So I do a series of different images. Here's one of them where I'll say new webinar, and I'll talk about what the webinar is, and then I'll put a link. Now, here's the deal. That link is not clickable in the image. So if someone were to click on amyporterfield.com/webinars in that image, it wouldn't take them to the sign-up sheet. So you want to make sure, but I put it there anyway just so people can see it if they want to go sign up. But in addition, when I post images like these to tell people to go do something, this is how you really can improve your actions for your audience. I put the link in the status update, and then I upload the image. So when the link is in the status update of where I want them to go, they can click on that. This is one great example of list building on Facebook. Create images that have a call to action. Get people excited about webinars you do, or free ebook giveaways, or maybe a free video series you're doing, or a podcast you have. Create images to get people to know about it, and then include the hot link or the link in your status update, and now people can go sign up. This is the #1 way how I grow my email list. I do webinars on a regular basis, so I give away great free content to get people to know who I am and what I'm about. I create images, get them out into the news feed in order to grab attention of my ideal audience. This is another example. I just change it up a little bit and put maybe one different image out per week in order to really grab the attention of my ideal audience. Now, when you're creating images, I want you to think of a few different ideas behind these images. You want to keep them simple, relevant, entertaining as much as possible, thought-provoking, curious, eye-catching, or tell a story with your images. Of course, you don't need to do all of these at once, but these are basically the central themes you want to think about as you are creating images for your Facebook page. Think of it in terms of a campaign. What are 4 or 5 images that you can create, like I did with my webinar images, 4 or 5 images that you can create and put them out over a series of time in order to create exposure for either a product or a service or a program or some free content that you are putting out there. Now, speaking of entertaining, I put this image out when I found this. I couldn't even figure out who did it, so I couldn't give them credit. But it says, I love my computer because my friends live in it. Now, I posted this to my Facebook page and said something like, this is so perfect. And this image got more shares and comments than any image I've ever put up on my Facebook page. So when that happens in my world, I think, okay, I've got to remember that it's not always about business. People are on Facebook to be entertained. So this funny image got way more exposure than, let's say, my Facebook image that I showed you here. So these types of images won't be shared as much, but you want to remember that they're getting the exposure. They're getting out into the newsfeed, so people are seeing them. So just that exposure and reach is so valuable with images. Now, I wanted to show you a quick case study where I posted a link to a blog for Chris Brogan. He's always got really great blog posts. So I posted this link, and I forgot to include an image with it. And as you can see, it only reached 18% of my fan base. So about 4,500 people were reached, only 18% of my fan base at the time. Now, Facebook recently told everybody that your posts generally only reach about 16% of your audience. So no matter what you post, only about 16% of your fan base is actually seeing that post. Pretty frustrating, right? Well, when you include an image, you likely will get much more exposure. So let me give you an example. I posted this image here, and it says, mistakes are proof that you are trying. And then it said, click like if you can appreciate this one. I sure can. So I created a call to action as well as uploaded an image. Without promoting this post, I was able to reach 28% of my audience, and 621 people actually clicked like. Very different than this example here, right? Well, the reason being is that, one, I included a call to action. So that's something I really want you to remember from tip number 1. ask and you shall receive. And in addition, I included an image. And people share images. They like to, especially images with quotes. So every time one of my fans shared an image, well, all of their friends saw it as well. So now, not only fans, but friends of fans can interact with my post. So if you want to get more exposure for free, include images in your posts. Get creative with it. Think of different ways you can use images in order to get people to share, like, and comment on your post. Percent of people actually liking and sharing and commenting on my post versus the 18%. Now, tip number 5 is you want to experiment with promoted posts. So I just gave you an example of how to get out into the news feed more often and get greater exposure without having to spend any money. But if you really want to get a bigger bang for your buck, then I encourage you to test out the brand new promoted post. So a promoted post is a status update on your wall that you pay to promote in the news feeds to ensure it gets greater exposure. You must have 400 fans to run a promoted post. And you can only promote a post in the first 3 days it goes live. So pretend that you posted something today on your Facebook page, and then tomorrow you thought, you know what, I really want to promote that to get even more exposure. Well, now you only have 20 or 48 hours to promote it. So you only get 3 days total to promote a post. So when you run a promoted post, your post will be seen by more of your fans and friends of fans. So you can do this directly from your Facebook wall. And again, you can get more exposure from your fans and friends of fans. So again, I come back to this image or this post here that did really well for me. And I posted it on my wall. Now, when I do that, as you can see in the lower right-hand corner, it says promote. I can actually click that and promote the post so that even more of my friends, fans, and my fans will see the post. So if you want to get more reach, or if you want to increase engagement, or if you want to promote something, I encourage you to think about promoted posts. Now, here's the deal. You might be thinking, well, how do I know when I should spend money to promote a post or if I shouldn't? Well, I encourage you to look at your sales funnel and your marketing funnel. What are you trying to do on Facebook? If you're trying to increase engagement so you get out into the news feed and more of your fans so that when you do promote something, more people will see that promotion, then definitely pay a little bit of money in order to increase your engagement. When you create a promoted post and you pay to get more exposure, well, your score goes up. So Facebook will start putting you out into the news feeds even more often. So if by paying, let's say, $20 to promote a post, now your engagement score goes up, so you're getting out into the news feed even more. So let me show you how it works. On your Facebook page, if you have 400 fans or more, you'll see once you once you write your status update, you'll get the promote drop-down. So once you do that, you'll get this drop-down where you can choose between $5 and $100 to reach even more of your fans and friends of fans. Now, something important to remember is that, let's say you spent $20 to promote this post. It's $20 per the life of the ad, not $20 a day. So whether you have 3 days left, 2 days left, a day left, it's $20 total. Now, let me show you an example here. At the very top, well, in the middle is a post that I did. It was for a Pinterest training that I was promoting, and it says, I'm hosting a free live Pinterest for Business webinar. Join me, and then I had a link. Now, on either side, you'll see that I didn't promote the first post, and I only reached 16% of my audience. But when I paid $20 to promote it, I was able to reach 43% of my total audience. Pretty great, right? Now, you might say, well, why would you want to spend $20 on this webinar? Well, I promoted a Pinterest product inside the webinar, a $100 Pinterest product, so I was able to profit from that webinar. So spending $20 really was nothing compared to the hundreds, really thousands of people that I got to sign up for that webinar. So when you know what your end game is, what you're promoting, what you're selling, then you can start to better understand how much you want to pay to promote whatever you're putting out there on Facebook. So I really encourage you to test out promoted posts. I've seen some great results with them. So here's what you learned, and then we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. Number one, To increase engagement and action, you've got to ask for it. Remember, ask for the like, the share, the comment in order to get even more traction. Number 2, go pro with your branding. Create those timeline cover photos using the specs that I gave you in order to really engage and draw attention to your page. Number 3, find out what's already working to keep momentum. So go inside your insights and look at your engaged users. Which post in the last 30 days got the most engagement? Do more of that. Number 4, use images to ignite engagement and action. I give you a bunch of different examples of how you could use images. And number 5, experiment with promoted posts. I love promoted posts. I think they work great, and I use them often. So I encourage you to start testing out promoted posts, even if it's for $5 or $10, just to see the kind of results that you get. And when you use promoted posts for a lead gen opportunity, meaning you drive traffic to increase your leads, then you're getting a bigger return on your investment. So there you have it. I'm Amy Porterfield. You can visit me at amyporterfield.com or come over and say hello on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Amy Porterfield. So now I think we're going to move into Q&A.
Great. Thanks, Amy. Thanks for all the great information. Some of those things we can easily overlook, like using images or even thinking about promoted posts. So thanks again for joining us. We do have a couple of questions. We have one from Ed, one of our listeners, and he asks, what size do you use for your images in your posts? Is there something specific, or is it open-ended?
No, that's a great question. Usually my images are 401 by 401 pixels. I've heard people say 402 by 402, and I know it's just a tiny shift, but I tend to get it fills up the biggest space when I do 401 by 401 pixels.
Great, thanks. I know Facebook sometimes has that funny compression, so that's a good tip
Yes.
to know exactly the dimension.
For sure.
Another question is, what are the top key metrics I should pay attention to when analyzing my Facebook fan activity on the Insights page?
Great question. So definitely those engaged users, but there's another metric there on that same page that I showed you a graphic where it says people talking about this. Now that metric, talking about this or people talking about this, it's a public metric. So if you go to your Facebook page and if you look at the number of likes right next to your avatar, right next to that you'll also see a number that says people talking about this. That's the number of people that are liking, sharing, commenting, clicking on event RSVPs or anything related to your page. So on average right now, that number is usually 2% of your entire fan base, which is really low, I know, but that's what most people are seeing. 2% of their fan base are talking about them at any given time. Now this number is for a period of 7 days. So I think every 7 days that number will be tweaked. But this number is so important to watch, and I'm always trying to get my number up. And really, I run promoted posts to get that number of people talking about this up. It works really well. I do this especially before I'm going to promote something, so I know that more people are talking about my page. I'm getting even more exposure. So when I start to promote something, I'll get even more exposure. So people talking about this, engaged users, those are 2 numbers I want you to watch. And then one more thing that's just an interesting stat. When you go into your Insights dashboard, and you'll see a few different options across the top. If you click on the Reach link, there's going to be a link for Reach, and you go all the way down, you scroll all the way down at that page, you'll see external referrers. External referrers. And basically this is telling you where traffic is coming to find you on Facebook. So when I did this, I noticed that Social Media Examiner, Mashable, Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, I was getting a lot of traffic from those sites to my Facebook page. Well, the reason why is because I guest blog posts for them. So I was instantly seeing what was working for me. Guest blog posting, driving traffic to my Facebook page, which then I drive traffic to my website. It's a great cycle that works really well for me. So if you check out external referrers, you'll see where your traffic's coming from. And again, you want to model that, do more of what's working. Great question.
Great, thanks, Amy. Those are all good spots to start looking to measure kind of your success of your Facebook marketing. I think we do have one more question. So this is from David, and he asks, how often do you like to promote an event on Facebook?
Question?
Oh, did you hear it? 1 second again. Let's see if we can get that reconnected. I asked, how often do you like to promote an event on Facebook?
Gotcha. Okay. So what I do is usually once a month I'll do a live free webinar. So I'm at least promoting an event once a month. But what I do usually is I use Facebook ads. I'm a huge proponent of Facebook advertising. So I do a lot of Facebook advertising where I might promote continually throughout the month different things. But in addition to that, I make sure that every day I'm putting some valuable content on my Facebook page and I'm answering questions on my Facebook page. So I make sure that I'm always offering more free value than I'm promoting. So for me, it's usually about once or twice a month I'll promote something on my Facebook page, usually not more than that. And I'll usually promote something of mine and then maybe give a shout out to a friend or promote an affiliate deal or something like that. So that's usually my style.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I think that's all the time we have for questions today. But thanks for joining us, giving us all this great information and tools to start using our Facebook in a little bit more of a successful way. And thanks to all of our attendees for joining Vertical Measures. Please mark your calendar for our next webinar. It's on Thursday, September 13th, where our very own president of Vertical Measures, Arnie Ken, will be speaking on how to create a content marketing plan that works. Should be a really interesting topic. Arnie knows quite a bit about this and presents at conferences all over the nation. Again, I'm Quinn with Vertical Measures, and thank you for your time, and have a great day.